There's a lot of misconceptions out there about how much it costs to buy a house in Maryland. Some people think that to buy a house, they must put down, 20%. Other people think that they can buy a house with nothing out of pocket. So today, we're going to learn about how much it actually costs to buy a house in Maryland. Stay tuned. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time to this channel and you want to know everything about working, eating, sleeping, living, playing, and many other things here in the Maryland or DC area, then make sure to hit that subscribe button right below. Click the little bell so you're notified every time we do a video. And if you're thinking about moving, relocating, or coming here to stay, make sure you give me a call. Shoot me an email or send me a text. Let's start by talking about down payment. Many people think that a 20% down payment is required to buy a house. So this is definitely a misconception because a 20% down payment is not required. Although there are several benefits and advantages. For example, if you go with an FHA loan, you can buy a home for as little as 3.5% down towards the purchase price. If you go with a conventional loan, they are requiring anywhere from basically 5% up to 20% down to qualify. Of course, some loans require zero down, such as the VA loan and the USDA Rural Development Loan, but those are specialized loans, so they're not necessarily the norm. So where did the idea that you need 20% down to purchase a property come from? Private mortgage insurance, PMI. And PMI is basically insurance, but it's not for you. It's for the lender actually. That protects the lender in case you ever default on your loan. So usually PMI costs anywhere from 0.5% to 1% of the loan annually, but you pay for it monthly. However, there are several options to stop paying PMI. First off, some of the loans like the VA loan don't need PMI regardless of how much you put down. But if you go with a conventional loan and put less than 20% down payment, then you will still have to pay PMI. While it's not a requirement that you put 20% down with the conventional loans, many professionals recommend it. So you don't have to pay the extra monthly costs on your mortgage payment. Let's say you only have 10% to put down and you do end up paying PMI. The good thing is that PMI will not be on your mortgage permanently. When you reach the point where you are only financing 80% or less of the value of your home, then you can typically refinance and get rid of that PMI. Home inspections. Home inspections are not required, although they're strongly advised or recommended. A standard home inspection would cost you here between $400 and $500 and will involve, a detailed walkthrough of the entire property. They will inspect all the equipment as well as all the appliances. However, in certain cases, it's always good to keep in mind that it is highly recommended to get additional inspections. For example, if the property is not connected to public utilities, let's say it has a septic tank, then it is highly recommended that you obviously get a septic inspection. If you're not on public water and have a well, you should get a water quality test. If you have a basement, and especially if you plan on using it for more than just storage, at least get a radon inspection done so that you can make sure everything is safe there for you. So also, if you have a fireplace, a chimney inspection is strongly recommended. If you had, both of these inspections performed, the total expenses may be as much as $1,300. Furthermore, since these inspections are optional, you must pay the inspectors at the time of inspection. This is something you will have to pay for yourself, but trust me when I tell you, it'll cost you a lot more money if you don't do these at the beginning before you actually buy the property rather than after you're now the owner of the property and not only may have to inspect it but also fix it. So remember, one of the clear benefits of doing an inspection is the fact that first of all, you're buying something that what you're getting into before you finalize the transaction. Lastly, if what you see is too much to bear or it'll cost you too much money that you may not have to replace it, then normally you're still able to get out of that contract and walk away from the house if it is not the right one for you. So it's better to lose between $500 to $700 on average and not to end up in a house that would only give you headaches and ends up being a money pit, really. Now let's discuss the appraisal. most of the loan programs need a property appraisal. And this is to ensure that the house is worth the price you're actually paying for it. So typically a bank will not lend you money on a property if you're massively overpaying for it. And usually the customer would, still pay for this out of pocket. Some lenders have you pay for it up front, but other lenders actually add the cost of the appraisal as part of the closing cost. So let me tell you right now, even if the lender doesn't mention that there is an appraisal fee, let me tell you, there is an appraisal fee unless they pay for it. And if they do, they normally make sure you know that they're actually paying for that on your behalf. Next, let's talk about closing costs, which are the fees paid to promote the sale of real estate from the seller to the buyer. And it's divided into two parts: the taxes fees and prepaid. The taxes fees include state and county taxes, as well as any fees charged by the title company or the lender. The prepaid is a little bit more complicated. So basically, once you close on the property, your first mortgage payment will not be due for 30 to 60 days. But during the time though, you're also responsible for paying taxes and benefits. So what they do is they charge you the taxes and share for that period at settlement, which are known as your prepaid. According to a recent bank rate study, the average closing costs in Maryland are approximately 3.5% of the final sales price of the house. Closing costs on a $200,000 home ranged from $6,590. Closing costs for buyers are usually 3 to 4% of the selling price, while closing costs for the sellers are 6 to 7.5% of the purchase price. However, there's a way for a buyer to pay very little, if not zero, in closing costs, depending on the market. And that is by working with your real estate agent and requesting that the sellers contribute X amount or percentage towards your closing costs, or cover all of your closing costs. Now, doesn't work in every market, but it works in some markets and in certain situations. And lastly, you may be wondering, how much am I gonna have to pay my real estate agent at the end of the day? And if we're really talking about all the costs we could have when it comes to buying a house, then it would only make sense that we should also consider the professional that shows us all the houses that we wanna see, right? Put the offer in for us, negotiates the deal, and really just has our best interest in this transaction, right? Well, let me tell you, most people are either afraid to ask at the beginning or don't even ask at all what, if anything, they would have to pay to their real estate agent. So I'll answer that for you right now. As a buyer, you typically do not have to pay anything to that real estate agent. In some cases, you do, because the agent may be charging you for something, but in 90% of the cases, as a buyer, you do not have to pay any sort of commissions or otherwise to the agent. The seller pays them, even though in this case, they still represent you as the buyer and looks out for you and your best interest. So I hope you found all this information helpful. Thank you for watching. And if there's anything you guys think I forgot to include, that somebody should know before moving to Maryland, please leave it down below in the comments right there. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Share it with others, subscribe. And if you found this video useful, check out this video right here to my left. That's it for now. We'll see you at the next video.